Welcome, Tangle friends. I realized that in the last few videos, I haven't introduced myself for those of you who are new to my channel. So I'd like to welcome you to my channel and tell you that my name is Annie Reiser. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, but also a certified botanical illustrator. And that's why I like to put a little bit of a botanical twist on a lot of my tutorials. And today is one of them. Today I'm going to be showing you a little project that it was inspired by this pretty little ornament that I've had for years. It's an antique glass ornament. And I am using two tangles that we all know very well, flux and shattuck. And so I think you'll really find it easy to do, but very beautiful, very simple. And you can incorporate my last video's tangle in it, the Mistley, which I will show you as samples. But today I'm going to show you how to draw a little ornament. Very easy. I hope you're enjoying the Advent season as much as I am. I have been having so much fun decorating, and I'm going to put a little clip in here of me decorating our little witch's hut, which I'm getting ready because I'm so excited about my daughter's visit for Christmas time. She's going to be staying here in this tiny little office that this is her sleeping nook, and normally we do not put up our Christmas tree until the 24th of December. We will be going out to the forest behind the house and getting it. But I have made this Christmas tree so that Christy will have something here to look at when she lays in bed. That's what's going on here in my neck of the woods, and I hope you enjoy this little project that we're doing. See you on the drawing board, which is right over there.
Smile to the camera before you fall.
Weihnachten ist viel zu lang. Holy moly. German is so long. I'm caught. Does this look stupid? Let's see. Let's see what So everyone, this is our project for today. It's what I'm calling an antique pine cone ornament. And as you can see, here's my Mistley that I did my tutorial on last time. So if you weren't there for that, you might want to look that up. And today we're going to just basically concentrate on the ornament, which is built of two tangles, flux and shattuck, both from Zentangle headquarters, and then just a little bit of line work and some scallops up here. So I decided to do this in black and white. Basically, this is actually a gray Zendala from Zentangle, my favorite paper from Zentangle. And here it is. What I did already was create a little border out here with graphite. And the other materials that we're going to be using today are, rather than a black, if you only have black, that's fine. But I'm going to use a gray Micron pen 01, and this one is called number 44. There are a couple different grays out there. One of them is lighter, and then there's one that's even way dark. But this is kind of like in between. And of course, always have a graphite pencil. I have a 3B here. This is my Faber-Castell. And I have a polychromos white, or it doesn't matter, Prismacolor white, and a jelly roll pen for just adding some of the little bit of highlights. You could also use, instead of the jelly roll, instead of the white colored pencil, you could use a General's white charcoal, which works great on this tile. This tangle works, actually this is my sample that I worked up first, which works really great also on a Renaissance tile because you can see the highlights of the white, which for me here are indicating our snow, right? So, and I plan on making a hole up here and putting a fine ribbon in there with a bow on it. I just haven't found my ribbon yet. Let's get started, and we're going to start by creating our shape. I'm going to put my sample up here so I can see what to do. And the reason I chose to indicate where the approximate middle of this tile is that's how we're going to build our acorn shape. But like we often do in botanical illustration, we build our flowers or our pine cones or whatever our botanical specimen is, we often sketch it first as a rough shape and then go from there. It helps us draw, right? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take this and I'm going to make a triangle. I'm doing this in graphite. This is considered our string. And instead of coming down with a sharp point, I'm rounding it a bit. And you can round it as much or as little as you want. As you can see on my actual ornament here that I'm taking my inspiration from, it is not too pointed. So then we're going to do basically kind of a snow cone. Let's put a little dot up here so we know where we're going with our half circle. I'm going to do a dome. And then we're going to pencil in this ornament top. Pretty centered. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is zentangle, right? But this is where you can correct because you have your pencil. Okay, that's the beginning of our tangle, or of our project. It's not, oh, yeah, you also do want to make your ornament loop. It's a little bit off center, but it's old and bent, and that doesn't matter. All right, let's see. I'm going to turn this light down. I'm here in midday, and I almost think that's better with less glare. Okay, let's get out our pen now and go ahead and begin our inking of our ornament. I am not going to ink this out purposely because I want it to be a little bit more organic and ripply on the edges. But I am going to go and give myself this guideline up here for the top. And also here. While I'm at it, I'm just going to do this, kind of correct. All right, so I would like to begin with our flux at the top. Actually, on my ornament here, they're using something more akin to the Tangle Vertigo or even the Tangle Samson, which I love and use all the time. But I chose flux. I just love the way it shades up. So I'm going to turn my tile to make the drawing easier for me. And I'm just going to go for it randomly. I am going to go past this line here with a few of the flux leaves. You can change your directions. We want to kind of really fill in that top so that there's not a lot of negative space back here. We could also do little orbs in here if we wanted to, but I'm going to keep it just to the flux. And of course, the flux has a midrib and sometimes those little dots. I'm not going to put the dots on because I want this to look more like a real pine cone from the forest with some leaves on top. So I'm not going to stylize it too very much. Okay, there's that. And using now this line, we're going to imagine where our shaddock scallops would be going back there. So as we know with shaddock, we're going to go from the halfway point of one arc to the other arc when we're making our scales. On a pine cone, these are actually called scales. And maybe I'll flash a picture of one of my botanical illustrations up there of a pine cone trio that I did in pen and ink. I might go like this and see if it's easier. Always try to make your drawing as most comfortable for you as you can. Yeah, this is feeling better for me. Shaddock is just one of those magical tangles that there's so many uses for, and that I have been using from day one. I always use shaddock. It's one of those go-to tangles because it's so effective and easy. Look how fast this project is going already. This is another one you could do in like a smaller size on a little gift tag. Okay, we're getting down here to where things are getting smaller. So I'm getting smaller with my strokes. And there. So I've purposely not inked this straight line here because I want it to be a little bit more organic. So I'm joining my scales up with a little bit of a bulge outside of that straight line. And it looks much more like this bulging little ornament, right? And then up here on this ornament top, I'm just going to do some little scallops that sort of echo that first row of shaddock. And then I'm going to make little tiny circles and just some line work, bending and bowing in the direction of either side of those, of either side of these lines. So that is it. Now I'm going to erase my guidelines. And this is where you can have fun and really kind of stylize your cone by giving it some liveliness with what we call lively lines. Somebody in my comments had asked again, what is lively line? Well, lively line is just what we call in pen and ink making lines thick and thin so that they almost have a shading quality to them. So you don't want to make every line thick or else it's not lively, right? So I'm choosing to go on one side of some of my fluxes. A little bit in the crevices there. Especially here where there'd be an undercut with the shading. If this were a sculpted little glass cone. You can do some weighting in these little corners. And then, of course, with the scales, there's lots of opportunity. And what I did on mine were in each of these little corners, I did make a little triangle. It just really helps those scales look like they're three-dimensional, laying on top of each other like the tiles of a roof, right? Let me pretend there's one here. See how much more character that has already? Okay, I think that's enough for now. And what I also did on this one, which is optional, you don't have to do it, but I did, being the botanical illustrator that I am, I did put some line work in here that are very likened to actual pine cones, right? So, and it's doesn't take a lot of effort. Just pull some of those eyelash strokes towards yourself. One long one from the middle and then a couple maybe on the side. If you're more comfortable, you can flick your pen this way instead of pulling it towards yourself. You can push. Some people like that better. I personally have trained myself to go either direction, and it's comfortable both ways. So the only thing here now that I'm seeing is that we could really emphasize a few of these scales with some more lively line. And you can also save this part to the end after you've done your shading. And now let's shade. So I've got my 3B Faber-Castell graphite pencil. And where I would shade is first, let's start with the flux. Let's shade along the midrib. Blend that out. Notice how I'm always leaving part of that leaf in light. Getting really dark down here where the leaf comes to a point. And then looking at this one, it's a tiny bit dark for me, so I'm just going to go ahead and lift and reblend. And that's looking already better. We would also go under each of these little scales. Sometimes what you have on your tortillion is going to be enough, but let's just try a few first and see how far we can go. As our line work indicates, you really want to get dark in this area where the shattuck overlaps. you do really need to have your graphite down. So this is a little bit of an arduous process, but it's nice, and since it's repetitive, it's very relaxing. So just take your time and enjoy. Good enough. You can even get, as you can see, you can get really dark in certain areas. Darks are always great, but I'm just going to do the basic right now so you can polish that all up on your own. Down in here, we do want it to be dark, so you could just do hatching with your pen, something like this, but I'm going to just fill it in with my graphite. And they get really dark in areas, so. It's like those, when branches overlap and you look through the tree and it's all dark and mysterious inside. So you can get really, really nice and dark around some of these areas. And then we want to put some graphite under these scallops and draw that down on the outside contour. And then over here, like we had indicated with the little bit of hatching, get some graphite there. And then as an overall look from the pine cone, I'm going to shade on one side a little bit more. And this is totally like botanical, so you don't have to do this if you don't want to. Probably should have bowed out a little bit more with some of these. This one's getting really bumpy there, but that's okay. And then we're going to blend towards the center. Keeping that right side in light. However, this is a cone and it would be shaded like curving this way. So you do need a little bit of shading on the outside on this side as well. I'm going to just do a little bit more hatching in this area, just giving it some really darks to lift up like it's carved. So the crafter in me, well, we're not done yet. Wait a minute. I'm gonna go for my white General's charcoal because it does take really well to this. So I would put that, especially in these areas where the light is really high. And then on the tips of these scales that we've saved out, right? Putting some up here and here. and getting, actually, if you're going to thread something through here, you know, you could also just do like a little Christmas thread like that. But if you are going to thread something through the loop, you might want to save this out in graphite, because you'll have this something crossing over and coming weaving under. So that's up to you if you want to put anything more on here. Or just do a little decorative rim around here. But I'm saying this is pretty much done. There's always, you know, time to go back in and add some more line. But I think that's a pretty quick, fun project that you can use in so many different settings. Don't forget to put your little chop on, sign and date the back. And remember that this is the second Advent weekend of 2023. So I purposely left these unmarked from the generals because I wanted to show you could use your white Jelly Roll pencil or Jelly Roll pen and really make a sharp highlight with it. You could also do that on a few of them. It's just easier to do on top of the plain paper as opposed to on top of something else, charcoal or colored pencil. So that's why if you're going to use the Jelly Roll, you might want to save it out. And then you could do the same thing up here. Looks like the snow covered these pine cones, sugar cones. And of course, the crafter in me is screaming to get out. And I'm going to go try to find my Wink of Stella. Get out some of the gel pens that have glitter, or get actual glitter and put a bead of glue on the tips of these areas that are now white and add like glass glitter. Wouldn't that be pretty? Okay, for those of you who like glitter and glitz, I found my Wink of Stella pen actually, which is a wonderful way to add glitter without the mess of glitter by just painting those little edges. And you probably can't see that, but I certainly can. It's a wonderful, wonderful, shiny, glittery. Let me just get this going. There we go. Do you see how this creates this amazing glitter? I'm going to go ahead and try that again and see if you see it better. That's why I like using the gray tiles, because you can really see the white and the glitter. Oh yeah, that's really pretty. In real life, this is looking great. Very, very dezent, as the Germans would say. Just a hint. It's just a hint of sparkle, not gaudy or, you know, kitschig in any way. Just a hint. Do you see that sparkling? There you go. Now you can see it. And of course, you could do some up here, especially where there's the silver. Ah, I love this. I'm going to have to get like 20 more of these pens. Looks like hoarfrost. Just landed on my pine cone. Love it. So the rest is up to you. You can make bows, you can do other things that you weave through here. I really do kind of like my Mistley in there. It makes for a nice Christmas theme. But it's pretty on its own, and I hope you enjoy making this project and showing me what you come up with. Thanks for joining me. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next time. Okay, so I did actually pretty much slather this whole cone with my Wink of Stella. This is a Zig product, and it's looking fantastic. You can't see it so well here on the camera, but you really can in real life. It's just stunning. Very, very elegant. And then I did the same thing with my little pine cone here. You can also, there is the same one in gold, which I could get out for the browns, but I kind of like this, you know, the clear. It looks really great. So there is a lot of food for thought and a lot of fun to have. Thanks again. See you next time.